Welcome to the Growth Through Adversity podcast, where men are forged, not coddled. Here we dive deep into the path of true transformation in pursuit of physical, mental, spiritual, and temporal growth. We talk training, nutrition, business, mindset, and spirituality. We embrace strength and we loathe ease. We reject weakness in every form and cultivate power, the will to power itself. This is the rebirth of modern man. Raw masculinity, tempered by reason, virtue, and right action, because nothing of value is earned without sacrifice. Let's begin our apotheosis together. Welcome to another episode of the Growth Through Adversity podcast with your host, Ragnar the Warwolf. What is up, people? So we're going to do a little talk about progressive overload today. So like I said, we're going to talk about progressive overload today and just kind of how the body works when it comes to training and adaptation, right? So this is something that we've talked about regularly in the past, but it is like the core of resistance training, and it is the core of how your body changes and adapts, right? So the basic underlying principle is super simple. What's up, guys? The basic underlying principle is super simple, that when you give your body a new stimulus, like in this example, like a heavier weight, a heavier load, something that it's not capable of lifting, or it's right on the verge of it's capable of lifting, your body goes through an adaptation, right? And that adaptation is going to be to add more muscle, to become more efficient neurologically, right? To have better connection from your brain to the muscles in your neurons, the motor units. It's going to find some way to either become more efficient and adapt that way with the internal systems that it has, or B, to add additional muscle mass, which can store more fuel and move more loads, right? So that is the basic essence of what we're playing on, is that if given the same stimulus over and over and over, your body is just going to reach a certain point and stay there. Every time you give it new stimulus, you're giving it basically new instructions that something has to change because you have greater demands for it. So that's the underlying principle of progressive overload. So what happens with a lot of people when they start their training journey is that they go to the gym for the first year, 2 years, maybe even, and it's like they start to see really good progress, right? And it's because everything they're doing, and it's like maybe they're not even training really well. The programming's not great. Their nutrition is like subpar, but like they're seeing decent results for that first 6 month to 2 year phase, because like literally everything they're doing is new stimulus to their body, right? As you move through the different phases of training, what's going to happen is your body is going to reach a point where what you're doing is no longer novel, right? You're just doing the same thing over and over again. And I tell people this all the time, especially with like my stronger athletes. It's like, and like they get, they're like, well, I can bench, 315. It's like, well, great. Like, yeah, it's super impressive. But if you want to be able to bench 345 or 355, like you cannot just keep benching 315, right? Like we have to find some way to introduce new stimulus. So even if you are super strong, way stronger than everybody else, have way more muscle than everybody else, if you want to continue to grow, you have to find new ways to overload your system, right? So that is the essence of progressive overload. And so the way that it works on like a physiological level is stimulus is basically the signal that triggers adaptation, right? So mechanical tension is what your body recognizes. It activates a bunch of pathways in your body and mechanical tension that are anabolic and cause muscles to grow and change and cause the process of protein synthesis to begin. So like, as you can see from this chart, we have mechanical tension, which is oh, look at this. We got a full-on party going now, which is transduced, and it activates the mTOR pathway, and it activates muscle protein synthesis, right? So that is like the mechanism by which your body grows when you look at it as a physiological level. But this stimulus has to continue to improve over time. What's up? We got JD here. Has to continue to improve over time, or else nothing is going to change, because your body is already that strong. And if you're not giving it new stimulus, it's not going to get any stronger or change any more. So that's kind of like the nerd stuff there. And now, so this also ties into what's called the supercompensation cycle, right? And this is why we periodize your work, and this is why your work is done in phases and things change regularly, is because the negative side of this stress and this stimulus and this mechanical tension that we're putting on the muscles is going to be fatigue. Once we induce fatigue, we have to allow the body to recover and then super compensate. So what happens is there is the stress event, right? So in this case, we're talking about training, right? So you go hit a super hard leg day, right? Now, you're not stronger the next day. You're not going to be able to go to the gym and lift more weights the next day, right? You added mechanical tension to your muscles. So theoretically, like you created the stimulus, your muscles should be stronger the next day. Well, they're not, right? Because first they have to go through this process. First, there's going to be a decay. This is going to be the fatigue curve where you actually drop below your baseline, right? So you actually get weaker, muscles are broken down, your body's not as optimal as it was before. And then what happens is we have this recovery phase where, and this is why we are always talking about recovery, and it's so important because this super compensation can't happen if this recovery phase doesn't happen first. And then after our body's recovered, it super compensates. So now we go higher than our baseline was before. And ideally, this doesn't drop all the way back down to our baseline, but it kind of peters out a little bit above it, right? And then through the course of that, through the course of doing this over and over again over the course of years, you're slowly, incrementally improving your baseline, right? But there's a lot that goes into this because when we create that kind of stress, there is this negative response in the body where it's broken down and it's actually less than it was before. And if we don't go through the proper recovery window and we're not getting the right sleep and we're not getting the right nutrition and we're not getting the right supplements and we're not getting the right nutrients and we're not overtraining that muscle and going right back in there and beating the shit out of it the next day because it feels good and I feel super tough when I go to the gym and lift super heavy and prove how much weight I can lift and how I don't need any rest. Like anytime we do any of that kind of shit, where we're training 7 days a week, then we're cutting out this recovery phase. So basically, we're stressing the body for nothing. And what will actually happen, the reverse of super compensation, is overreaching or overtraining. And that is where the stress falls. You never really get back up to baseline. Then we re-stress the system and you get even more fatigued. Then we re-stress the system. And this curve just continues to go downwards, 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 and bad things start to happen. So this is really cool stuff to me, man, how it all kind of works. So the most basic and I think effective form of progressive overload is the double progression framework, right? And this is something that's built into every single one of you guys' program. And it's literally like you just pick a rep range, and now different rep ranges are beneficial for different things. So low rep ranges are when we're doing our strength work. So if you see like a 3 to 6 rep range or a 4 to 7 or 8 rep range, we're focusing more on like strength. If you see like 6 to 10, 8 to 12, this is more hypertrophy ranges. So the rep ranges are they have different impacts themselves. And there is some carryover between the two. So you'll see a lot of different variety in rep ranges when you work with us. But like literally, we're going to pick a rep range, and the objective is if the rep range is 6 to 10, first week, find a weight that's very difficult to get 6 reps at. Get your 6 reps, and then the next week when you do that same exercise, try to get 7 reps. And then the week after that, try to get 8 reps. And then the week after that, 9 reps, so on and so forth until you reach the top of your rep range. And then you're going to drop back down to the bottom of that rep range, 6 in this case, and you're going to increase the weight. So this way we're progressing horizontally by adding reps every single week, which is relatively easy and safe to do. And then we're progressing vertically by adding weight every time we tap out our rep ranges. This is like, if you think about progressive overload and the idea of adding new stimulus to every workout, that's exactly what you're doing. One more rep is just a little bit more stimulus. One more rep is just a little bit more stimulus, and you're giving your body that signal that it still needs to grow. So yeah, like I said, this is my absolute favorite system. So the only downside to it, and it's not really even a downside, is just that you are going to reach a point where you outpace this, right? This is going to work really well through your beginner phases, really well through your intermediate phases. As you get more into like advanced type phases, just the amount of time that it's taking your body to recover and for you to see the progress that it makes as you near your natural limits is going to be a much longer time horizon. So you're not always going to be able to add one more rep every week. You're not always going to be able to just really cleanly go through that and add it. It might take you 3 months to where you're able to work your rep range up. And this is where adding in some different, like more advanced intensity modalities, it can be super beneficial. So like a great one, and the only one I'm going to cover today is going to like the rest pause. So the idea of the rest pause is we're taking ourselves beyond the threshold of failure, right? So the way the rest pause works is super simple. Is like you'll do your whole set and you want to take that set either to failure or to one RIR. So within one rep of failure, you want your set to be very, very difficult and very, very intense. So like if we're doing a barbell row, it's like I'm going to bend over and I'm going to do the barbell row until I literally can't do another rep or I'm one rep away from not being able to do another rep. Then I'm going to take a 20-second break, somewhere between 15 and 30 seconds. I personally like 20 seconds. In the first about 10 seconds of rest, your body recovers about 70%, right? The rest of it can take upwards of 8 minutes to regain that last 30%, but we're playing on that. So we're resting for 20 seconds. Our body's recovering 70 or 80%. So we're able to go in and maybe get half of the reps that we did before. So our first rest pause set will, after 20 seconds, we'll go in there, do another set to failure. If we did 8 on the first, if we did 8 to failure the first time, it's probably going to be something like 3 or 4 to failure the second one, and then rest another 20 seconds and repeat the process, for however many rest pauses are programmed in. I typically do somewhere between 1 to 2. I typically won't give you more than 2 rest pauses, because it's just mean at that stage, really. I typically only do one of these per exercise. So like, you're not going to have like all your sets aren't going to be rest pauses. It's going to be to just polish you off at the end. But what we're doing there is we're resting just enough to take ourselves beyond failure. So we would not have been able to do so. Instead of doing 8 reps and going to failure, instead we did 8, 12, 16 reps. So we basically doubled our reps. So we basically doubled our reps in what was with virtually no rest, right? Without adding another set. So this is why I say that you can take this beyond failure. Now, this kind of advanced modality is going to increase the level of fatigue. So when this is built into the program, recovery becomes even more important because now we're adding a lot more fatigue. We're taking ourselves beyond failure and we're really abusing our central nervous system. So that is kind of how we use rest pauses. And just to kind of recap, I know everybody in here knows about progressive overload, but that is just kind of like, it's always good to recap it because like, I mean, Jimmy's been in the program for like over a year, and he messaged me the other day and he was like, or we were talking on the phone or something. And he was like, man, I literally just figured out the progressive overload thing. I've like been trying to just like go in and do the max rep range every week. And now I realize that like I should go a little heavier and start at like 6 reps and then work and then do another and then work my way up to the top of that and then increase the weight rather than just try to do the top of the rep range. And so like, and that's like after a year and a half. And, so it's like, it's good to recap on this stuff and just make sure it's super clear. So that's all I got for you guys, man. If anybody's got any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask them. Doesn't have to be specifically about this, can be quite literally about anything, or you can just share a win or fucking whatever, man. We got a couple more minutes here. We might as well put it to good use. JD, I'm going to put you on the spot, man.
What is going on?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Actually doing really well.
Doing really well. Awesome.
Yeah.
How you feeling right now?
I'm a little sore, but like, man, I don't know if we can cuss on your podcast.
Yeah, you can. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I'm incapable of not cussing, so I always flag not for children. So yeah, you can cuss all you want.
Oh no, I'm feeling fucking amazing right now.
Perfect.
So
perfect. How you liking the phase you're in right now?
it's good. It's good. Getting used to some of the movements, like the supinated bench press or the dumbbell flat bench.
Yeah.
That's a little different, but like
go light. Go light. You'll feel in
and
different parts of your chest. I hate it and I love it because it's like I can feel it working my chest in ways that I just don't get when I do like heavy dumbbells or heavy barbells. But I just don't like it, because I have to drop the weight so significantly much on it.
Well, so that was the thing is I grabbed 70s when I did my dumbbell bench, and I was like, all right, man, I'm doing really good. And I was like, all right, it's supinated. So I watched the instructional video on the workout plan. Yep. I was like, all right, that's different. Well, I grabbed like I think I grabbed like 50s or 55s, and I was like, oh, I'm up shit creek. So I put those back, went and got the 35s, and I was like, okay, my form's good. I was checking my form in the mirror. I was like, all right, that looks good. felt kind of light, so I went back up to 45s. So I was just
Perfect.
like, man, that was like a little something to get used to. But
Yeah,
after that, the bottom of my titties, I was like, oh, there it is.
that's what it does.
Got a hell of a
It
good
takes it
pump
a
going
little
on.
beyond the range of motion and hits in weird places on there.
Yeah, the stretch on it, man, and then the
The
pump
stretch is
afterwards
killer.
was freaking
Yeah,
phenomenal. So like
perfect.
it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, they're a good one, man. They got a really good place in there, but they are frustrating.
Yeah,
What's your
and
weight
then
at
like
right now?
I'm
What?
so I think there was a mess up. It's either the scale at work or at the house. I'm
Yep,
at 183.7 today.
183.7. How far down is that from when we started?
I started at 220.
To fucking 40
Fuck
pounds.
yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ, man. And
I
building
know, and
muscle. Like looking at your pictures, it's like you've added a ton of muscle to your frame because you can just like you can see it in your shoulders and your chest. And like anytime you're holding the phone, it's like, yeah, you got like delts popping out.
well, like I feel kind of bad because like like especially like the last set was at the gym. I had a hell of a fun. I changed pre workouts, and one of my buddies that I work with, he recommended it, and I had this massive pump going on.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, yeah, I got to take a picture of this. And so like I felt bad because like I had the pump going on, and everything was swelled up, and I was like, man, I need to get like this normally, not just because of the pump. But then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'll throw the flex in there, and you
Yeah.
know, it's
No,
all
it's
part of
good,
feeling
man.
good looking.
The pump photos are always cool, man.
They are.
Well,
But
cool.
like, and the other thing I really noticed, my love handles are almost gone now.
I've seen that in the pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got like
so I
the real
took
V, you got the real V taper going on.
yes, and
Yep.
so I was super stoked about that. And that carries over, and especially Coach Ryan, dude, when he does his like when he does the check-ins,
He's a rock
like
star, man.
oh yeah, but his energy's through the roof, which is
It's really
absolutely
it,
phenomenal.
it really is, bro. Yeah, no, I love that dude, man. He is just like either no, he does not slow down, man. And that's just like how he really is. Like I met him at one of the local gyms up here, and that was what I was so drawn to him was he was just so fucking positive and his energy was so good and he was just so smart when
Yeah,
it came to because there's not a lot of people that can talk like a niche like fitness stuff with me, you know what I mean? Even at the gyms, like you know what I mean? It's so, but he was just like incredibly intelligent, knew what he was doing, and then his fucking energy was just so
it
contagious, man.
is. And like, so you got like his little voice in the back of your head. He's like, "Come on, come on!" He's clapping. He's like,
Yeah.
that energy just contagious, like you said.
Yep.
And then he made a comment. He goes, "Oh, check out the V tape or the V shape to your back." And I started going through my pictures again. I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yeah,
went
it's
from
starting
like
to melt off.
yeah, you went from like a pair to like a V. Yeah. So yep. Perfect, man. Well,
Yeah, dude.
I love to see it, bro. Keep after it. It's great to see you in here, man.
Oh hell yeah. It's kind of weird, like because where I live right now, it's kind of hard getting blood work done without driving two
Yep.
and a half, 3 hours. Um, so I'm actually trying to find a spot close by to get some blood work done, and
Perfect.
then
There's some you can do. I've never personally done it, and I don't know exactly how it works, but I do want to say there are some you can do through online. There's like some online places. I'll look into that a little bit. I
so
know
my
there's
wife it was the one you stick on your arm and you hit the little
so
button. You're
that
supposed to.
unfortunately I would not do that.
It's
I mean, it's
garbage.
cool. So there's a big difference between venous blood and capillary blood. So, like for
Yep.
example, I just went in and did a blood dump myself this week, and my hematocrit on the venous draw, which is a very accurate test, was like 51, which is not concerning. It's like starting to get on the high normal range, and it's like, okay, let's go give blood and thin it out. But when I went in there on the capillary, it was at 60%, which is like you're basically going to have a stroke and die. And the chick was like freaked out, but it's the difference between capillary blood. It's just
Yep.
very different than blood that's running through your veins. It sits there longer. You know what I mean? It's moving slower. It's not freshly pumped out of
Right.
the heart. And to get really accurate biomarkers, like it might be good for just your personal records and just to kind of keep an eye on things and make sure nothing like is super crazy. But I would still make a point to get like quarterly at least really good venous work at like a Quest or somewhere reputable. Also,
Right.
the
Yeah, I'm
tests
trying to
are
find
more
one over in
advanced, you know. Yeah,
yeah, I'm trying to find one over in Silverthorne, which is about an hour away.
perfect.
But either they're there or they're not. And I've been since I got on TRT, my hematocrit levels went up,
Yep, they
and
will.
so also donating blood at the same time.
Yep.
But donating blood, does that drop all the good stuff that's in your blood while like floating around? Are you going to start losing a little bit of gains due to the
No,
blood?
no. So when they drain, so your body regenerates it relatively fast.
Right,
What it does is, so hematocrit is like density of red blood cells. You just have too many red blood cells. Your body's producing too many red blood cells too fast.
right.
And which, can thicken your blood, and as hematocrit climbs higher and higher, can put you at risk for like stroke and cardiovascular events. So when you go and you give it, it thins that out, but your body regenerates it. Your body regenerates blood. It regenerates blood that's come from your bone marrow. So you're not going to like, so I wouldn't, it's going to be a very temporary window where there's any loss of nutrients or anything like that that's specifically in your
Okay.
blood. Your body's pulling nutrients, glucose, amino acids, all that stuff out of your blood, sending it into muscle cells. So that stuff's held in your blood or in your cells, not in your blood. What's in your blood is like white blood cells, hematocrit, plasma, or red blood cells, plasma, things like that. And your body regenerates all of that really fast.
Okay.
So I don't
Yeah.
train on days that I give blood. You know what I mean? If I go and I like do a
Right.
blood draw, I'll train afterwards, not before, because it'll fuck the test up if you train before. And then like when I go do like where they're taking like a half a liter, like 500 ml, like a standard therapeutic phlebotomy, or like if you're just going to give blood for just to give it, on that day,
Yeah.
like I'll make sure that's on a rest day, and I'll drink a shitload of water, and I'll do an iron blast. I'll take three like 30 milligram irons just to kind of get everything, just to kind of, give your body that ferritin and everything it needs to restore all of that.
Yeah.
But within 24 hours or so, your body maintains homeostasis. So it holds like, what is it? I think it's 5 to 7 liters of blood, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And so you
It was
go and you
something
give
like
a
that.
half. Yeah, it's gonna bring it back up to where it's not gonna be low blood volume for more than 24 hours. Your body is gonna restore all that, regenerate all that, and restore you to like a homeostatic balance.
All right. Right on.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing how the body works and what it can do.
It's it's awesome. That's for damn sure.
But yeah, no,
And then
there's no downside to it. There's no negative to it. As long as you're, not fainting or anything from it. But yeah, as for like gains in performance, it's just going to help you. What the
okay.
downside
Right
is,
on.
high hematocrit can cause big problems downstream.
Yeah, and that's what my hormone therapist was talking about. She's
Yep.
like, it might be genetic, and my family's old enough that like they didn't really pay attention to all their cardiovascular health, and then until my dad had his heart attack, and
Yep.
then like, well, we don't know, so I started paying attention to my stuff,
Yep.
and then I'm trying to schedule some heart imaging, just make sure there's no buildup going on right now
Definitely
due to
get
the
yeah get
genetic
that.
gift of high cholesterol. So
The C protein test that can tell you about inflammation in there. And then, yeah, like they like a really comprehensive is like a stress test, and just to see, how your heart operates under stress, and if there's any, nasty stuff built up in the arteries. And I
right,
mean, it's a good thing to have. Like I had one of a couple of years ago, and everything was super, super good in there. But I feel like it's like, because we have a lot of heart disease on my dad's side of the family too, and it's like I just wanted to know that everything was naturally healthy in there. So yeah,
right,
it's worth getting. They usually, if you got a good provider, they don't mind doing those kind of tests if you have like a hereditary disposition for it.
yeah. I use my dad as an example. I was like, look, he's had heart attacks. He had a not, it was like 90% blockage or some crap. But
Jesus,
other than that, everybody was too old.
is your
Like,
cholesterol high?
yeah, it runs a little high. But
Little
like,
high?
I also haven't checked it since I've been dieting.
Okay, yeah. So I'm curious about that,
So,
because that is often one of the first things we see go down when we add exercise and cardio, especially, and
yep,
dial in the dying, is we usually see the bad cholesterol go down and the good cholesterol go up.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
my first blood draw was like in February, and I joined your program in March.
Yep.
And so, like, I wasn't dieting. I was still drinking, doing all the other stupid shit.
Yeah.
So I would really like to, and I do need to schedule one just to see if
Definitely.
dieting and exercise alone drop that cholesterol.
I
So
I can almost guarantee you it did, and also cutting back on alcohol. Alcohol and cigarettes are one of the two largest drivers of bad cholesterol outside of like hereditary and just eating like shit. Like both
Yeah.
of those,
And
tobacco will lower your good cholesterol, and and alcohol will raise your bad cholesterol. So the two together are like just horrible.
yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
So yeah, I'm interested to see. Hopefully I can get that scheduled. I got to head to work Monday, and so that those 2 weeks are basically shot. But when I get back, hopefully everything will be scheduled and good to go.
Awesome. I'll send you over the panel. We have a really comprehensive panel I use on myself and anybody that wants it. And it's just gonna, if you give it to your provider and say, hey, I'm kind of just interested in getting a little bit deeper dive on my blood work. Do you mind ordering these tests for me too? Because what they'll do is they'll order a lipid panel, they'll order a CMP, a comprehensive metabolic panel, and they'll order a hormone panel if it's your hormone specialist. But this one also has like thyroid function. It has fasting insulin levels, so we can see if you have any insulin resistance. It just has a ton of other stuff that they just normally won't answer. A1C, so we can just kind of get a better picture of where everything's at health markers wise, and then we can kind of customize a supplement protocol to anything in there that's out of whack.
Oh yeah, because I was going through the portal and I can't even remember what number it was, something of 50, and you were talking about insulin resistance.
Yep.
And then also the other one was NAC.
Yep.
Which wouldn't hurt because like I spent years abusing my liver.
Yep. I
So,
will take NAC in the morning and the night, 600 milligrams, 1200 a day for the rest of my life. That is one I have absolutely observed in my own blood work. If I don't take it, my ALT and AST, your liver enzymes that can show stress on your enzyme on your liver, will run like a little bit like high normal, so they won't be out of range, but they'll be like right on the verge of it. And then when I'm on NAC, they're like right in the middle or even on the low end of it. So they actually make a measurable difference in there. And also, you got to remember that like resistance training is stressful to the liver. So just like
yeah.
alcohol and drugs, like which are way worse for the liver, but like when you're lifting heavy, you're breaking down muscle tissue. There's all these metabolic byproducts in your bloodstream that have to also get filtered out by your liver, all the lactate and all the shit that gets, secreted when you're breaking down muscle tissue and it's ending up in your bloodstream. So that in and of itself will stress your liver.
So which is better, injectables or oral?
NAC, you take oral. So
Oh, I thought. Okay.
Yeah, NAC is an oral. It's an oral supplement and it works really great orally. There is glutathione. So NAC, N-acetylcysteine, is like a precursor to glutathione, which is the actual molecule in your liver that attaches to toxins and flushes them out of your body through your piss, basically through your kidneys. And once glutathione is expended, then your liver tissue has to start doing that. And that's where you start to get like a cirrhotic liver and you start to destroy your liver. And the thing is, like with like chronic alcoholics or like your liver just cannot keep up and can't regenerate glutathione fast enough to restore itself. So it starts to break down the liver and eventually it's just destroyed. So glutathione is an injectable and it is even better than NAC. You do like 1 milligram, like you do usually. I can't remember the exact dosing, but the way I would buy it would be like 1 milliliter a week. And it burns like a motherfucker, but it works really well. NAC is just like the precursor to that, and you take it orally. And you could totally
Okay.
take both of them if you wanted to like double augment it. Honestly, if you get your blood work back and your liver enzymes are out of whack, what I would do is I would attack it with glutathione to start and NAC, and then you can probably just do a maintenance protocol. Now I don't need to take glutathione to keep my enzymes in a good range. I just do the NAC, and that's enough.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's something that it's not a pleasant shot. So it's like if it's one you can cut out, it's definitely one you want to cut out because it does fucking hurt.
All right.
Yeah, it's like you walk around for 2 days with the delt feeling like you got punched by fucking Mike Tyson. Yeah. But it's very effective and it's worth it if the liver enzymes are out of whack.
Yeah. I don't think my liver enzymes were that far out of whack, but I remember you were talking about there's only a finite amount of it in your liver.
Yep, that's a glutathione.
Depleted,
Yep.
so
So start with
but
NAC.
jump on that.
If they're in the normal ranges or just barely out, I would just start with NAC.
Okay. Yeah. Hopefully I get into Silverthorne tomorrow. I'm gonna swing by the health food store and see if they or the natural grocers or whatever the hell it is, some hippie joint, and see if they got the NAC.
The natural pantry. Yeah, I can send you a link on Amazon too.
Oh, that'd work
That's where I
too.
order it. Yeah, I got a good brand that's really, really high quality. I've used forever. I'll shoot it to you right when I get off here.
Oh, sweet.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I will let you guys go, man. It was good to catch up with you.
It was awesome, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You guys have a great rest of your night.